This is test number 1 to check the PHP inbuilt mail validation function for the register form. So if selecting a valid username and entering a valid email with the repeated password and then creating an account, there should be no error in the sign-up process. Test 2, the same, but this time with boundary data for the email form. So this time a bit longer, but which still suits the email format, so should be supported. And after selecting a valid username and repeating the password correctly, the creating an account should work without errors again, as seen here. This is test number 3 to test if you can create an account with an invalid email format. So in this case, this would be invalid, a valid username. And if now an account is created, there will be the email invalid error. Test 4 is to check the PHP regex username validation function. So if using a valid username, a valid email, and now trying to create an account, there should be no error. This is test number 5, username function again, but this time a username which is too short, which is less than 3 characters long, a valid email, and if I now try to create an account, there will be the username is invalid error message. Test number 6 is entering a boundary username. Which is which is at the maximum length of it. Entering a valid email now. And trying to sign up, this process should work, as seen here. Test 7 is to check the register form with an invalid username. As usernames can contain characters, this should be considered invalid. And if I try to create an account now, there will be the same message as seen before with the invalid username. For test number 8, I'm going to see if the username. For test number 8, I'm going to verify whether the system accepts the same repeated password and therefore then allows for a valid sign-up or not. So in this case, I'm going to repeat the password test password 123 as seen here, and here again. And if I create an account now, there will be no error as the passwords match and each other field was successfully validated. For test 9, I'm going to do the same, but this time with 2 different passwords, which should result in an error message and not creating an account successfully. So after entering a validated mail, the password test123 differs from the repeated password test456. So if I create an account now, this should result in a passwords don't match error. For test number 10, I verify whether the system accepts a valid username and password, which is already found in the system to log in successfully. So in this case, it should be as the username found username has been created earlier successfully with the password found password, I should be able to log in successfully, which is seen here, and I'm redirected to the shop page. The second test is to log in with the same account, however with using the email, which is found email at example.com with found password. So if I try to log in now, there should be again the same success, and I am signed in with the same account as I was earlier. And to prove that this account is in the database and exists, it can be seen here, found username, found example, found email at example.com. So yeah. Test 12 is to verify whether the system rejects login attempts with a username or email not found in the system. So if I try to log in with non-existent user, which is obviously not found in the system, and with a password, there will be an error, a message displayed with user not found. Test 13 is to verify whether the system rejects login attempts with a username not found in the system. So as I now input the non-existent username and try to log in with some random password, the same error message will be displayed. Test 13 is to verify that no crashes of the system are seen when attempting to log in or register without any data filled out. So if I try to log in here and change the HTML field so if I delete the required field of this tag and here, and I try to log in again, I will get an error empty input. For the create account form, the same can be done. And as seen here again, we get an input empty error message. Test 15 is to verify if non-logged in users are able to access the admin dashboard or any page. So for example, if we go to the account page, we see that we're not signed in. And we can create an account, for example. However, if we try to access the admin dashboard, which is not shown here in the navigation bar, but by entering the link of it, which is this link, and if we enter it, we are also going to get an error message, and we're going to be told that we have to log in to access the content if we have admin privileges. Test 16 is to verify if logged-in users without admin privileges can access all sites, and if not, why and which sites not. So we're going to use found email at example.com. So now we're successfully logged in. So now we can access the change account information page where we could update specific fields. However, it is still not possible to access this page. But what we get now is a message in German, which basically translates to sorry, found username, which is my username. You don't have access to the site, and here I could log out. The same can be said in general for all admin dashboard subpages, as the start menu page now is just representative for the other ones. Test 17 is to verify if logged in users with admin privileges can access all sites and functionalities, including the admin dashboard. And as seen in the database here, we have an admin email with admin username, which is indeed admin. So if we log in with this email or username, we get successfully redirected to the admin dashboard and can access every subpage. As seen here, we can furthermore also access the change account page information. We can write messages and so on. Also, the shop subpage now has those delete icons, so I could also delete books. Test 18 is to check the input validation on the contact subpage for non-logged in users, specifically focusing on the data fields, sender name and message text, as the other fields undergo the same validation, which I already showed in the login and sign up process earlier. So if we also enter a phone number randomly, and if we submit the message now, there should be a status sent successfully. So it is indeed possible to write messages, which are then also validated. Test 19 is to verify the input validation on the contact subpage for non-logged in users with boundary data this time. So as I filled out each field with data which should work, as the message text has exactly 10 characters, it should barely fit the validation as being long enough. The username and everything also fits in the range, so if submitting it now, we should also get the status sent successfully. Test 20 to verify the input validation with all empty fields except the message text, which only has 5 characters and also will not be validated successfully. So if I submit it now, we get an error message here shown that the written values are faulty or incomplete. Test 21 to verify the input validation for logged-in users, where only 2 fields have to be filled out. So the text message and the sender name, so how you want to be addressed, for example. And when submitting this message now, there should be a sent successfully status, and it should be processed successfully by the system. Test 22 to verify the input validation for logged-in users, this time with boundary data, so the name should be long enough with 4 characters, and the message should also be long enough, and as characters are allowed, if I submit this message now, there should be a sent successfully status. Test 22 for logged-in users, where this time it is tested against SQL injection. So if we use this as username, this would not be accepted. And so if we would submit this now, we would get a send successfully status. However, the database would not be deleted as shown now, because here we use prepared statements everywhere in the system. So the message should be correctly sent to the database. So if we go to the database interface and now reload the messages table, we will see that nothing has been deleted. This test is also representative for each input field for end user as well as for admin, as each input field employs the same prepared statement system against SQL injection. This is test number 24, where we can see that the full name drop table messages has been uploaded before when we wrote the message where we used the SQL injection statement. So what we would do now, for example, is select date of birth in the year 2000. For the full name, we would use the full name of Phil, which would be valid and which would update the current full name field. For the username, however, we would only use the username TE, which unfortunately is too short and would therefore not be uploaded to the database, but rather Phil be kept. The password is a new password is going to be used with 4 characters, as can be 5 characters as can be counted here, and the current password, which has 7 characters, would be then changed. So if we click on apply changes now, we would get a success status. The date of birth would be changed, the full name as well, as it is both valid. However, the username would still be the old one, as it is as TE is too short. The address would get validated if it would be 1 character more than the one before, but as it is less than 3 characters overall, it still won't be validated, so the old one will be kept. And the new password now, so if we enter postal code, for example, for the address, and we enter our new current password, which is 4 characters long as shown before, and 5, and apply the changes, we will see that we now have the new address uploaded and the rest stay the same. This is test number 25, same as before, but this time we are going to override each field with a validated new field. So the username is going to be changed to user1234. The full name is going to be changed to this example name. The date of birth is going to be, for example, this. The address is going to be this example address, and a new password will be chosen with the current password being 5 characters long. So if we apply the changes now, we will see that each field has been successfully updated, and even the password has been updated, which can be seen by logging in it's now, for example, with user1234 with the password entered, which was 9 characters long, which would now result in a successful login as seen here. So for test number 26, it will be a bit different. So the whole website now is going to be loaded into a mobile phone-like format to show that there has been put mobile optimization everywhere. Starting with the book carousel, only 2 books are shown now. If I would click on one book, for example, the automatically generated subpage is completely redesigned with the book being in the middle and no left-right design having, but rather a central design where, for example, payments can be made, or you can add things to the shopping cart here, for example. Now if the user goes back to the home page, also font sizes are resized. The text follows a different structure, slightly different structure. For example, payment and shipping subpage, it is a bit resized. And overall, also the block, for example, changes. The same can be said for the shopping cart, where I just added a few items now, for example. And as shown, there's still the same functionality as before. I could even change the quantity to 12. Payment is possible. The shop also is redesigned on this view, as well as the contact subpage, for example. And if now, for example, an admin account logs in, there's now this specific login page, which can be seen here, instead of the login page, which is on the administrator, on the navigation dashboard. So instead, users can log in here. The same technique is being used as before. For the graph, still the same functionalities can be seen here on mobile. And now additional submenu here is deployed for the administrator dashboard. Instead of login, there's now a logout button. So also the sliding menu changes. To see the messages in table format, here we can see the last messages. To add books is also possible. Writing a blog is possible as well. All styles can be applied, as seen here. For managing payments, the overflow is being handled properly for mobile. To add filters, as can be seen here. However, this has a defined width. If we delete filters, the whole system works as expected. We can view specific orders, and we can even click them and send them off. For example, for Romilda Wayne, which will reload the page. And lastly, also the user payment page. All informations can be seen. You can ban users as on desktop. So overall, it can be said that the whole system is fully mobile optimized. As illustrative example, once again, so the subpage of books, for example, is laid out like this on mobile. However, it is completely differently laid out on on desktop view in this form. To lastly see that the pages resize appropriately and seamlessly go into mobile view, I'm going to resize the pages now. So if I resize this page now and scroll down, this will now change. After a few pixels, this will change, as well as the card now will be updated piece after piece. So if I go into mobile, there will be more space first, and only 2 books will be seen per carousel, as the opposite of having like 6 books shown here. The same also, for example, on pages as a block. It is just made smaller but still accessible, and the other elements of the navigation bar just disappear and this hamburger icon appears. For test number 27, where I will demonstrate adding products to the shopping cart and how it is saved in the database, I will first reload this page, which proves that there's no items in there now. If I now go, for example, to a random page and add something to the shopping cart, there will be a new item in the shopping cart. So wherever I go, as I'm still not logged in, and return to the shopping cart, it will be saved as cookies. Same can be said when increasing or decreasing. It is always shown here. So if I add more products to the shopping cart, I have now 2 books. I can add as many books as I want. If I click 2 times on the shopping cart, it's automatically going to increment the quantity of the shopping cart. So here, as we can see, we have 2. Could also change it to 21, for example, 20, 23, and the price of all books is automatically calculated with, as seen here. If, for example, the page is being reloaded with having a book with 0 as quantity, it is just being deleted off the shopping cart, and the other quantities are being kept the same. So if I try to decrement over past 0, it won't work. And if I enter a negative quantity, for example, I will get an error message and it will be set back to 0. The same can be said with decimal values, for example, or if I use no real numbers, for example 45k, which is not a number. So every time I write something which is not a positive integer, it will be set back to 0. So if I log in now with a user account which has no orders, as seen here, I'm successfully logged in, and as seen here, so the user is customer ID 2, there is no related order with it. So if I go to the shopping cart now, we will have the 6 family books from before. However, now if we reload the database page, we will see that we have 6 times quantity for this customer info, as we are logged in So this is now saved in the database. If we change it to 3, for example, this is being changed to 3 here as well. So if we now add a book, for example, 2 of those books, or maybe so if I click really quickly on add to shopping cart twice, the cookie can't load. So I should usually click a bit slower. That's why 1 was shown instead of 2. If I reload this now, I get the second article with quantity 3 as shown here. Status pending simply means that it is a shopping cart value and that it hasn't been paid for or delivered yet. So now I'm going to sign into the same user account on Microsoft Edge, which is a different browser. And now the shopping cart content saved in the Chrome tab here is also synchronized with the one in the Microsoft Edge tab. So overall, the system successfully saved all cart items with cookies, as well as changing and uploading them into the database. Test number 28, I will create a book listing by logging in with the administrator account. So if I want to add a book to the system, in this case I'm just going to add a already existing ordinary book, which is called the Tribute from Panem, just as example to illustrate it. So I'm going to copy this ISBN. So as I now filled out all the fields, to upload the book cover, for example, I'm just going to select it. Now that I've selected it and looked over every information, I'm going to create this book. And as shown in the URL, I have a book successfully added code now. So if I go to the shop, I will see that I have Tribute from Panem. And if I click on it, I will get this generated page. If I want to know more about the author, a dedicated Google page is automatically going to be generated, which searches for its keywords. And it would be possible to pay now with it, or to add it to the shopping cart, as seen here now. Test number 29, to show that if I log in with the old user account, where I changed the account information before. So if I go now onto the contact page, I will still see all informations in the customer info database table saved about me. So this is basically a page where I can view all informations displayed about me in the system, except for orders and messages. So as seen in this case, the system accurately fetched each information from the database and pre-filled it in this HTML form, except of the password, of course. This is test number 13, where I'm going to test that the system notifies the administrator after a book has been bought. So if I'm going to buy a book directly now, with those PayPal sandbox informations. Which is the account of John Doe, for example, in this case, simple sandbox account. And I set my shipping address to Germany, for example. And I'm completing the purchase with a credit union now. So after being processed as successful, the admin would receive a message in a few seconds, as there still has to be a lot of payment processing to be made. So currently I would receive a webhook PayPal request, which will trigger an email here, where it tells the client's name, in this case Ute. So in the real system, the email would be set to Ute and not to Philip Schuler, with the buyer John Doe and his respective PayPal email, that the order just has been made. And to see more technical informations about it, if something has gone wrong, for example, the user could also consult, the admin could also consult the whole webhook file, basically with all important informations about it. This is test number 31, which tests that also an email is sent to the buyer this time. When I go to payments, when selecting filter by this user here with tribute from Panem, with quantity 1 and a total price of €9.90. So if here I click on order has been sent, it's going to be updated, and the mail now is going to have a new email. This would be technically sent to the real email. However, I hard-coded in this case that each email is sent to my email, as it else would have been sent to the sandbox email accounts, which would not exist, so which wouldn't make sense. So in the real deployment of the system, this line would be deleted later. And as seen here, we can see that it has been bought today with a price of $9.99. This is test number 32, that the admin can read certain messages which have been sent, for example, this customer message. So as this person is logged in, if I go to the delete user accounts page, I can find this username here, and by cross-referencing the username with it, I can send the email to in the system registered email address and reply to him or contact for further support. This is test number 33, that the admin can read and see more details about each order by clicking on it. For example, this order now, by clicking on it, I can see the email, as the user who bought and ordered this product was logged in with the system's email and the system's user account. The payment type, so has been paid with the PayPal REST API as checkout process. The price with quantity in combination with the total price when it was ordered. The product name, obviously, and the shipping address. And as already shown before, I could click on here, and now it's updated successfully. It's not seen here anymore, as it got deleted from the undelivered orders. So if I want to find it, I need to click on the delivered orders, where I could then see it. As well, I could apply multiple filters from newest to oldest, or delivered newest to oldest. Test number 34, which verifies the activity chart as shown when reloading the chart. 396 clicks have been met today on Thursday, which is the 7/3. Wednesday is displayed on the left, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Saturday, and Friday, all in German. So if we go into the home page and back to the dashboard, the view count should increment by 1 to 397, as seen here. We can also only view one chart or 0 charts. To test the second graph of the logged in users, which is at 50 today, I'm going to log out and log in again and then see if it increments to 51. And as seen here, it incremented to 51. Test number 35, which verifies if there's a page in the dashboard which allows for viewing customer details. As for example, here is the case. For the username is given, the name is given. If there is a date of birth available, it is printed here, else not. The email, the address, and the customer ID. And furthermore, there is also an SQL statement which counts all money spent on orders and the total number of messages written, and which is being sorted from highest, as seen here, to lowest, for example, with 0 messages written and 0 total money spent. If we go to the user before here, we can see that all the informations displayed on the account subpage are also displayed here, with addition to those 2 messages. So the user wrote 3 messages and spent 0 amount in total. If there has been nothing spent, the accounts are ranked based on total messages written. So could be said that in total it is being filtered by which account has the most of activity. So the customers at the bottom can be easily deleted as they haven't interacted with the system, as seen here. However, the accounts at the top, which already paid for the system or already wrote messages and also have foreign keys and other tables, can be deleted. Test number 36 verifies that regular end users as well as admin as well as logged in users, as already shown before, can access the blog subpage, which is available for every user to see, where the blog letter can be seen which has been written, and a timestamp at the bottom automatically generated, which states at which time and date the blog article has been written. As the payment information for the paper REST API is being fed from the HTML page, and the price variable, which is a constant in JavaScript, being assigned at DOM content load, it is impossible to directly change the HTML and therefore influence the price. However, with a bit more of experience, it would be possible to change the price for the front-end JavaScript API. So this would look like, for example, if a price of 0.0 euros would be set and it would be tried to pay. price would still be at 90 if the page would be reloaded. It is not possible to do a payment as no negative or zero payments are possible to make. The same is also due with a negative price. It is also not possible to start the API. Test number 38. So what would happen now if the price would be set lower, for example 0.99 euros, and it is then bought with PayPal. So the REST API would not directly detect an error. However, if we complete the purchase, after having changed the JavaScript, we will get redirected to a payment failed page where there is said that there's mismatched or incorrect information in the order with contact help for the support. So it has been already paid with, so the user would then have to contact the admin to tell that he wants a refund as the payment failed, which would only be the case if the end user actively tries to change the price in the front-end code. For the payment successful, it can be also seen already before in the video when I paid an item which then got to the payment successful subpage. So I'm only demonstrating the payment failed here again. Test 39 now also verifies and checks how the second tiered payment processing system works. So if I pay an item, which is now set at 990, which is the same price as with the database, I would get the payment successful message. And now PayPal would receive those payment informations in a few seconds. So if I go onto the service RAM as the payment process is asynchronous, the new informations which got grabbed from the PayPal REST API are enqueued into my service RAM system, which is shown here. To identify which order it is, I also grabbed the automatically generated PayPal order ID by PayPal and inputted it here. As now I got the HTTP request on my server endpoint from PayPal with webhook information about the payment. What would happen now is that it will give all the information in a breakdown JSON view of the whole payment system. And my second backend script gets run now and compares everything with the one enqueued here. If the PayPal order ID matches and everything, it is deleted from here. So it would be, it would be empty. Accidentally, and as the result is 1, so it would be successful. Everything would be successfully uploaded, and the order is now registered into the system, as can be shown here. In the order info table. I also keep an internal log which creates automatically a new instance of each order and just saves it in the log and in the webhook-log.txt file. So if any errors or false processing happens, I can check the log to consult further. This is test number 40. To check that the admin can write blog articles, as seen here, I've pasted some random text with some applied styles. There's like almost endless style possibilities. with a title you can choose. And if the admin decides to post now the blog, it will be possible for the end users to see this blog with the title being here and the text being here, with also a timestamp of when it was written, which date and at which time in German.